Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts. It's Saturday. You know what that means? Of course, it means here continuing the journey of Batman, the Brave and the Bold. This is Season 1, Episode 3. Of course, we're not knowing the title until I get into the episode. Last week's episode I thought was great. And honestly, I think I mentioned it in the video, but I'll make sure I mention it here. I didn't have a lot of faith going into that episode because opening with Plastic Man with Batman, I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not really a fan of Plastic Man. He's fine. Not really a fan of his character, though. But the way they handled his character, we're on Dinosaur Island, and the fact that Grodd's in the episode really just made the episode overall a great time. It was a great episode overall. And the backstory and everything, the flashbacks with Plastic Man and how Batman was involved in terms of his origin and how Batman was there for him and during the recovery and basically by his side to try to make him a better person. And that was kind of the journey with his character too, was to prove he's better than he is, like he originally was, right? He was under Kite Man and all that. So it was really good. And I think episode 2, with, of course, I said Plastic Man and Gorilla Grodd, I think episode 2 is better than episode 1. Episode 1 with Blue Beetle was great, but I thought episode 2 was better. So I'm hopeful that this will be another good episode as well, because so far, it's been pretty solid so far. It's been pretty good. We're now 3 episodes in now with this 3rd episode here for Batman the Brave and the Bold. And yeah, it definitely is different, but I'm definitely digging it for sure. So I'm ready to get into this episode, guys. Let's get into it now. Let's check it out. Let's go.
Pandora's box, Batman.
What?
And once I've freed the evils from their ancient prison...
Toying with forces you can't possibly understand, Faust. You know how that ends, right?
Enough! Archaios.
Nice trick.
Wait,
Can
what?
you pull a rabbit out of a hat?
What is
I have a
happening?
few tricks of my own.
You spoke no incantations. You're no
What's going
sorcerer.
on?
What then?
Oh,
Atom?
that's a cool shot. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, okay. Oh, that's convenient.
A visit to Aquaman's kingdom invariably means an adventure.
Hey.
Thus, I turn back the invasion.
Even the Protector needs protecting.
Oh. Good.
I'm hurt that you didn't tell me you were stopping by. How are you? Fluke! Look how excited he is.
To see you, Batman.
The most obnoxious dolphin on the planet.
That's boy.
Fetch boy. Fetch boy.
Happy?
Someone wants you out of the way.
Villains are always coming down here to take a pot shot at the kingfish.
He doesn't care.
Little brother, what happened here?
Oh. Woo!
I admit
I like
pride
the
made me do some foolish things.
kind of
Batman.
wave of the
But
ocean.
age has brought wisdom.
I know. You don't trust him.
A tiger
He's
shark
very
doesn't
smart.
change its stripes.
He's family. Undersea plate movement? Happens all the time.
Something tells me this is not normal, though.
This will be the throne room. What do you think of the view, Black Manta?
Mm-hmm.
Too many buildings.
And I prefer an assassin who can shoot straight. You failed me, Manta.
Soon we will correct the gross injustice that has denied you the throne.
My brother's spies are everywhere.
I suggest that if Prince Orm ever wants to be King Orm,
Yeah.
it's time he stepped up. The secret of the mechanical sea monster.
Whoa.
Coral Reef Rescue. Shark attack.
Oh.
No, he's fleeing.
It's not gonna work.
Outrageous!
That is
I
a
know what you're
giant
thinking.
whale.
Belly of the whale.
Oh my god.
I don't know what's gotten
You
into
must fight your
two,
friends.
But you'll have to do better than that.
He's just being like a game. I'm liking the freeze frame shots. Is it that big whale again? Thank you,
That
Aquaman.
was outrageous. They claimed they were overcome by an irresistible urge to attack.
Orm has the same telepathic powers you do.
I know you and Orm have had your issues.
Issues?
But he's right, though.
You mean the
He's
time
right.
he used a stolen sonar weapon to commandeer a nuclear sub?
Orm's no genius. This is no doubt
He's
the
working
work
with
of
Black
Orm's
Manta.
enemy, Black Manta.
Which you would see if you weren't blinded by guilt over mommy putting you first.
Just drop it, old chum.
Oh. For a lot of people.
Anything you'd care to confess?
Batman, release my brother at
Well,
once.
no, you
But
shouldn't.
I saw him.
What? Flavor my drink? You have to go. I like you, Batman, but this is family.
A word in private, if I may.
Of course, Orm. Anything. And I'm sorry about Batman.
Oh, yeah, he's... Oh, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I want your opinion, brother.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
Does this make me look like a king?
dude.
Orm?
Call me Oceanmaster.
Yeah. Dude. He just wasted no time.
Because right now, your old chum is about to be fresh chum.
Now you gotta fight some sharks. Uh-oh. Go fishing. Okay, that's the problem. He can't breathe. Uh-oh.
No crime to your scaly friends will help, hero.
This must be where you try to turn us against each other.
Now I can begin my endgame.
What?
The shelf will collapse, and I'll have
Oh.
the pleasure of plundering the ruins.
Thank you for the save. Good save. Okay, I was saying, how is he still alive? Uh-oh. Holy crap. What? Oh. Surprised you're saving your brother, but, must get help. Oh.
Atlantis is about to be a memory, and Aquaman along with it. He and his brother fell for my trap, hook, line, and sinker.
It's a gigantic fight. Here we go. Nice. Oh. Well, at least, uh-oh, watch your back. Oh, that's good. Nothing's working. Oh. Batman versus Black Manta. Who would have thought?
Your undersea coup is over, Manta.
Outrageous!
Outrageous!
Hero inside you looking for a way out.
Back
So
in
you
prison.
decided to give him another chance.
And there you guys have it. Overall, this was a pretty good episode of Batman the Brave and the Bold. And I do have the voice cast pulled up here because we had a lot of characters in this episode. Before we get to the Aquaman stuff, the opening with Faust and the Atom revealing like that's how Batman was floating and all this, like, he's like, oh God, and it's, you know, Batman floating in there. I'm like, is this someone pretending to be Batman or something? But anyways, it was the Atom and it was a cool reveal. Even though he didn't speak, it was still cool to see that hero. But then we dive into the Aquaman stuff, which was pretty good. I think overall the representation and the way they handled Aquaman, very Silver Age Aquaman for sure. But it was very well. And John DiMaggio, like I was like, I know who that voice is. Like I recognize the voice, but I didn't realize it was John DiMaggio. But like once I saw the voice cast, like you know, when the episode was playing, I was going through the credits. I'm like, oh, John. Okay, that's why it sounds familiar, because it's John DiMaggio. Orm, I think, was pretty good as well in terms of handling the character. Batman knowing immediately that something's up and that it has to be probably Orm, obviously makes a lot of sense. But Aquaman making sense in a way of how they're handling the story is like, look, I'm giving my brother another chance. I don't believe it's him that's causing all the issues, who try to assassinate me and all this stuff. It is. And I also like how like the way they handled Orm getting his name Oceanmaster, right? Because he said, it's like, well, when you became king, you became Aquaman. Well, I'll become Oceanmaster. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty interesting way to how he names himself besides just Orm or King Orm. It's Oceanmaster. Black Manta. I think Black Manta was awesome, and I think personally he was the highlight of the episode in my opinion. I think Aquaman's great, like the way they portrayed the character, and all of the sea creatures and stuff was pretty cool, and especially the giant whale, that was awesome. But it's Black Manta. Like the design of Black Manta, the voice was just Kevin Mock Richardson. He crushed it as Black Manta, and just I think overall it's a simple story in terms of, you know, he just wants to destroy Atlantis, right, and make it sink. It's simple, but it's effective, and it overall, you know, fits into the narrative of the show, which is anything can happen, which is true, because the opening first episode, when you have Blue Beetle and Batman go through a portal in space and go to another like a planet that's an alien planet, at that point anything is pretty much open, like anything could happen. And so with us going on an adventure in the ocean, and there's Aquaman and all that stuff, Mira was there, but she never spoke, never said a word. And of course, Orm and Black Manta, there's so much stuff, and it's all these creatures and a gigantic whale. I'm like, oh, this makes sense, because we also have Dinosaur Island, right, in the freaking same universe as all of this. So it really is not too surprising, but it is unexpected because there's a lot of stuff they're just throwing at us. Because, like I said, opening with Faust and everything, a lot of craziness there, and then we dive into the sea adventure. Now, I'll say this: even though I am enjoying the show, it is a little odd that it's like the tone, it's throwing me off. And it's not the show's fault, but at times it just throws me off of the tone and the way this show is a little bit more lighthearted, because I'm so used to Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, because Kevin Conroy. I'm used to, even earlier a couple years ago, watching the Batman, the 2000 show, which was before this show, because this show aired after the end of the Batman. So clearly they wrapped up one show, the Batman, and then went over to Batman Brave and the Bold. It's just tonally, even though the Batman had some more lighthearted moments for sure, it still was a darker series overall. So it is kind of throwing me off that we're getting a more lighthearted Batman, a more lighthearted show. Then again, I knew this was going to be the case, because it's more in line with the Silver Age, and especially with Aquaman, like the way they handled him, the way he spoke, the way John DiMaggio played him, the design of him, it really fits in line with like a Silver Age-esque. But I do appreciate too that this show isn't like one-dimensional in terms of its like overall tone. Even though I am saying, hey, it's kind of throwing me off about the fact that this is more lighthearted and everything. Like Black Manta, like he's pretty serious, right? Orm is pretty serious, and it's the balance that really is working. Even though it's throwing me off that it's a little bit odd of the lighthearted tone or more lighthearted tone, I still appreciate the fact that this show is giving me a good variation of tone and giving me a lot of characters and a lot of this crazy stuff, right? Like, as I was saying in the intro, and I think it applies to this conversation, that I was really unsure about episode 2 last week because we opened with Plastic Man, and then of course he continues on in the rest of the episode, going to Dinosaur Island and all this. There's some funny moments, for sure, some funny moments, but Plastic Man had me worried because I'm not a really fan of his character. I'm not a fan of the character, really. But the way they handled him worked within the context of this show. So even though it's kind of throwing me off as I'm more used to a more serious Batman, I've read a lot of Batman comics and stuff throughout the years, and I've read a variation in terms of tone, but a lot of it is more of the darker, serious take for Bruce Wayne / Batman and the overall world he's encompassing. So to watch a series that is very different than that, like in terms of the overall tone, be more lighthearted with some serious moments, some more serious, because Batman was pretty serious in this episode because he knew of the portrayal of against Aquaman, and he was predicting, and he was right. Orm was the one. He didn't obviously predict Black Manta per se, but I think that they're doing a pretty decent job after seeing 3 episodes. They're doing a pretty decent job of balancing that tone. So I think I'll get over my kind of thrown off bit of the tone of the show overall as we continue, as I get more used to the show, because like I said, I'm used to the 90s and the Batman 2000 show. As I reacted to the Batman 2000 show for the first time a couple years ago, that show was damn fun. So overall, I'm having a good time with the show. I think the action scenes here were pretty cool, and I mentioned this in the reaction, and I was going to mention it earlier, but then I got sidetracked with discussing my overall kind of like being thrown off about the show. I like how they handled the visuals of being underwater, because instead of having just a stagnant image as you would just normally see, they're adding these little like small little blur waves that are kind of going, and you especially see it in the faces when the blur is kind of like if it's like a little bar floating up. It's because it's like the effect of water. It's like their way of affecting water. And I thought it was pretty cool how they did that. Now, I don't know if they did, and it didn't sound like to me they did anything with the voices to change or add an effect to it, but I like visually how they added just a little bit of a wave that goes up as people are talking. So it's not completely in focus all the time in terms of their visuals. It's just a way to add, I guess, the water as it's kind of like there. I don't know. And the Batman immediately was just prepared to go underwater. It's kind of funny, but it's fine. It's whatever. So yeah, having a good time with the show. What do you guys think of overall the show so far? If you're rewatching it with me, because I know a lot of people, as I watch shows, they're either watching it for the first time with me, or some people actually go back and rewatch the show as I'm watching it for the first time, just to kind of keep up with it. So how are you guys enjoying the show so far, if you're rewatching it or watching it for the first time along with me? And what you think overall about this episode? Let me know your thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out.